Welcome to our first FaB Fridays for Flesh and Blood. Um, Today we're going to talk about the newly spoiled hero, Vynnset. I'm going to leave Prism for another episode. Um, so let's go over Vynnset's abilities. At the start of your turn, banish a card from your hand. If you do, create a Ruin Chant token. Whenever you play a Shadow non-attack action card, you may pay 1 life. If you do, the next Ruin Chant effect that would deal damage this turn can't be prevented. Um, so Vynnset lets you strategically set up your banish zone with cards that you want uh, to play later in the game. Um, but the cost of that is the fact that that's one less card that you're going to be able to play from hand that turn. Um, Chain lets you bank free go agains and free free soul shackles, um, but lets you do a lot of deeper, dirtier things when you've got 6, 7, 8 cards that you're banishing each turn, where you can hit a bunch of stuff that you can play in one turn, especially with all the go again he had. So this is going to take a little more strategic ability to set up, in my opinion, but it makes it a very interesting hero. The second ability is interesting in the fact that it messes with prevention shields. So things like ward, spectral shield popping, um, etc. The things like ward and spectral shield, it's going to try to pop for to prevent the damage, and then it pops and doesn't prevent anything. Sort of the same thing with spectral shield. So you can push through some extra damage here. Now notice it does say Ruin Chant effect, which right now the only Ruin Chant effect is the Ruin Chant token itself. Alright, so let's take a look at some of the other cards that we currently know about that are spoiled. We have Phantom Banshee, red, 3 cost, 7 attack, 3 defense. It has Rune Gate. So while you have enough Ruin Chant tokens equal to or greater than its cost, you can play it from your banish zone without paying its resource cost. And of course, it does have Blood Debt. Um, so I assume that these were designed because some of the other themes, some of the other cards that Chain had were overpowered, and this makes you work toward a similar end game, but restricting you not to be able to play those cards from your banish zone unless you have enough Ruin Chant tokens, which as soon as you play this, the Ruin Chants you have pop, etc. So there's a interesting dichotomy of I want to build up Ruin Chant so I can play some of these for free, but as soon as I play one of these for free from my banish zone, all my Ruin Chants go away. Still, I like this as something very different from Chain, and I think overall it's a good thing. The other thing, this Flail of Agony, of course, both these cards are in the June Armory kit. So if you haven't played in your local armory for this month, or you're a new store, make sure that you sign up for Organized Play so you can get these kits. They're really cool. So the Flail is only for Vynnset. Once per turn attack, pay 1 life attack. When this hits, create a Ruin Chant token. 1 damage, one-handed weapon. I'm going to guess, I don't know this for certain, I'm going to guess that this is the token weapon rather than the majestic or legendary, if they're, depending. Um, this is like a worse Kodachi, basically, and that's why everybody was saying, let's keep Rosetta Thorn from hitting Living Legend. We'll see how this plays out, and I kind of want to see if there's a secondary weapon. Um, so let's get into the cards that a Vynnset deck is probably going to be running. The first Runeblade action uh, that I think is going to be played in this deck is Mauvrian Skies. I'm not sure if it's going to be 6 or 9 copies, but basically giving your next Runeblade attack go again, and if it hits X number of rune chant tokens. Right now we have no soul shackle. We have nothing that gives extra ability or extra go again right now, built in like we did with Chain. So a card like this is super important, especially if we're wanting to play multiple cards out of the banish zone. And even though right now we've only seen one card with Rune Gate that's potentially playable out of the deck, we still have a number of cards from Monarch that are going to be important to be able to build a usable engine for Vynnset. Mordred Tie is another one. Obviously, you're not going to get to play this one before you activate their starter turn ability. But anything else that creates rune chance, you'll be able to stack an additional one. Overall, it's a good card for decks that want to gain additional rune chant tokens. Obviously, it's still better in Viserai than most of the other Runeblade heroes currently. This, of course, is one of the dirty ones, Revel in Runeblood. If you played an attack action and a non-attack action, create 4 rune chant tokens, and then it blows all the rune chant tokens up at a turn. Obviously, you're playing this off your lovely boots at instant speed, so you can gain pseudo go again and continue a rather painful turn. This is obviously one of the slower cards, but helps you constantly keep rune chance on the table with Runeblood incantation. It's not great because it only blocks for 2 and costs you 1. But I think you're probably going to have to run several of these effects as well to try to keep your rune chant count up if you're going to be playing the Rune Gate cards. Now, we'll see how effective they are as we see more spoilers. This this is the dirty card we get back. Obviously, this was banned until Chain rotated. Chain has Living Legend, and so we get our Seeds of Agony back. I won't say it's not still broken, but the way Vynnset is worded and written, without the additional Soul Shackle, you're going to have to intentionally stuff your deck with more ways to banish cards to get them in your banish zone. Or you're going to have to use its her beginning of turn ability, um, intentionally putting several seeds in your banish zone for several turns to build up to one of the turns where it's like you play 3 seeds of agony um, from your banish zone into a Mauvrian Skies into a Rift Bolt, and just trying to get one of those big turns started. I think it's going to be more methodical instead of combo-y, but we'll soon find out. Of course, this is a staple. I think this card's going to go in Shadow Runeblades forever. Um, Real easy to play from your banish zone, real easy to play from your hand. Lets you banish more cards, setting up a current turn or a future turn. Shadow Puppetry. So this is another very important card for the deck. Again, it's extra banish. If the attack hits, it automatically gives the attack go again, which is important when you're chaining long turns. And if it hits, you can banish an additional card from off the top of your deck, which also is very good. Bounding Demigod. This was typically played in the deck because you played a lot of non-attack actions, so that you could play this from banish zone, and 0 for 4 from the banish zone was really good. Head equipment. This is an easy way to get a card into your banish zone. Draw an additional card at instant speed. It's possible that this does not get played competitively in, say, Classic Constructed, because you'd rather have a better piece of equipment, like Crown of Providence, etc. Ghostly Visit, simple and clean, 1 for 4. Howl from Beyond. Costing 2 was always a problem with this card. You need a lot of blues, but being a pump that can be played from banish was pretty good. It's Rift Bind, excuse me. I do apologize. But yeah, on turns where you played several non-attack actions, you can play a Rift Bind from your banish zone, give the Rift Bind go again, and play a second one. Is where those turns got pretty ugly. Obviously, we're all familiar with the Rune Chant token. We either love it or hate it, depending on which side of the island you are. Shrill of Skullform. I don't think this one will be as good in this deck, simply because you typically have to wait. I won't say waste, but you have to, if you want to effectively trigger it, it's bonus. You have to create the aura that turn. And Chain, it was like, this is a free action. Now I can play this and play the red one for 7 and go again. Play the blue one for 5, go again. I mean, this may or may not slot in the deck easily. We'll find out when we see the rest of the cards. And then, obviously, Tome of Torment. Now, this one is much worse than this deck because there is no go again, and it is not an instant. With Chain, you could kind of free roll it, and his Soul Shackle would give this go again, and it made things a lot easier and neater. So those are my basic thoughts on where we're going with Vynnset. I think this is an interesting design. I want to see more of the cards in the set to see what cards we're going to have to mesh with each bucket. Obviously, I don't have Swarming Gloomveil on this in this list. Swarming is still a good card, particularly if you're having to stack a bunch of different rune chants in a turn. Another stopping of damage, or damage cannot be prevented effect in the deck. It's just not a complete free roll like it was with In Chain or Viserai. Those two are like, I won't say automatic, but it's, well, even Briar. This one may be a little trickier, but I still think it's workable. We'll be back next week, where hopefully I'll be able to talk about Prism when we figure out the rest of at least another card in her off of her ability. Until next time, no matter the game, there is no escape from the tide.